Welcome to the Totally Not Made Up podcast, where we talk about stuff that's totally not made up. I'm Dr. Ruth Adams, and this is Dr. Cal Meacham.
It's a me.
Oh my god, you can't say that. Today we're going to be talking about something that's very close to our hearts, and something that we enjoy. I have a lot of opinions on this. It's something that I actually really like.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It involves something that I actually really, really like.
Yeah, like it's on the fringe of something that's legitimately interesting and really cool.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about crystal healing.
Yes.
Specifically, the idea that certain types of crystals have certain types of hoodoo auras around them that do certain things to your body physically. I will just say this. Throughout history, people have had a fascination with crystals and gemstones. Yeah. I'm one of these people. Like, any city I go to, you bet I'm going to be at the gem and mineral exhibit at the local museum. Yeah. Every time I go to a new city, that's what I want to do. Because I'm fascinated by it. Like, there's something about, the symmetry of crystals and their beautiful sparkliness that I love. And my favorite, one of my favorite gem and mineral exhibits is in Pittsburgh at the Carnegie Museum of Science, because they have a hall there and it's filled with mirrors. So it's like you're looking at these really cool displays of all these really interesting crystal shapes. Plus there are mirrors all around you. So you kind of feel like you're in this huge hall. Yeah. And that you're in another place. It kind of reminds me of that scene from the latest Star Wars movie. What was it? The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi.
When she was in the
mirror dimension.
Yeah, the thing where the timeline thing, and she's the only person there.
And in like Doctor Strange, where he's in the mirror dimension and things are all crazy. That's what this exhibit reminds me of. And it's really well suited to displaying crystals. Yeah. It kind of makes you like, you really want to look at them more. You want to admire their kind of, it's a natural beauty, but it's also kind of alien. So I think that's one of the reasons why, people have always been fascinated with it.
And all the brightness and the shininess and the colors and the shapes all have a specific purpose and meaning according to this type of shit. Which is something that I'm not entirely opposed to, believe whatever the hell you want to believe about stuff. It's just when the application of that knowledge does more harm than good that I have problems with it.
It's like so I think it's hard for people to accept nature in some aspects. And like, well, we dig something up out of the ground and it's multifaceted and it looks perfect. Like, there's got to be a reason for it. Right. And it's for something. But in actuality, it's just something pretty.
Like
to look at.
It's easy to see supernatural value in something like that when you have no idea about the atomic structure and how it came about in the first place.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, like, people have been collecting, gemstones since the fucking beginning of time. Yeah. I mean, basically. Because they're unusual, they're clearly different from the rocks that surround them, usually. I know if I had never seen, garnet before, and I was, dicking around in the woods and I'm walking in a stream and I see it in the stream bed, surrounded by all these normal looking pebbles and then this blood red sparkly stone, man, I'm gonna believe some crazy shit about that. Like, I don't know what it is, I don't really understand, and that's why they were so valued, and they still are. I mean, nowadays we can manufacture almost all gemstones. Which is also very cool. I'm a big fan of that. I think it's really fun science.
Okay, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, give me the Lolo. What's
just the quick and
dirty. That's
short end of it. The short and fast is that crystal healing is the practice of using certain crystallized minerals to cure ailments and prevent diseases by arranging them on the body in certain ways to channel positive energy into the body and negative energy out into the crystals.
Okay, cool. All right.
And that
sounds real.
And just to clarify, I went up and looked up what the definition of a crystal actually is, because you don't think about it very much. You just sort of you know it when you see it. But
like pornography.
Like, right. But according to Wikipedia, a crystal is defined as a piece of homogeneous solid substance having a natural geometrically regular form with symmetrically arranged plane faces.
Okay, so it has to have planes.
Yeah, it's got the flat edges on them.
And it's based on the...
It's geometrically shaped.
And
so
it's
got,
based on, like, what we see as, like, a 2-inch crystal or whatever. It's based on the atomic structure of the molecule that makes it up, right?
Yeah, like, the scientific definition of a crystal is based on the microscopic arrangement of the atoms inside it, called the crystal structure. A crystal is a solid where the atoms form a periodic arrangement. And most macroscopic inorganic solids are polycrystalline. And that means that although they contain microscopic crystal forms, the structure contains grain boundaries. So they're like breaks in the crystal structure. So it's not uniform throughout. So it's not an actual crystal. Like crystalline and polycrystalline are different things. So like a quartz crystal is an actual crystal, but like a block of ice is polycrystalline. Like it has crystal structures in it, but it's not solid crystal throughout.
But a snowflake would be crystalline.
No, that's polycrystalline too. It's got grain boundaries and stuff. Like it has to be
okay. Like
on the atomic level, it has to be uniform throughout, all the way through. So that's what an actual crystal is. All right, you want to start with the history of crystal healing? Because there's some stuff in here that you might find interesting.
Yeah, I just reached over and pulled out a very interesting book that I may reference.
Yeah, you can flip through that to.
It's called Amulets and Talismans. All right.
You can use.
I wrote a research paper using this book. It's really old. Has a lot of really cool. It's from The book was originally written in 1930. It has a lot of interesting ideas and theories about how amulets work, and crystals kind of fall into that.
Yeah, like most of the, like when you look on these websites, a lot of the crystals that are for sale are in amulets.
Yeah, amulets are super fascinating, especially like how they all work the same way. They work like crystals do.
Yeah. Like you can
it's the thought of the thing that gives it power.
Yeah, you can use this book to confirm or deny these things that I got, because basically all my information is from the crystal websites, not from legitimate websites. Like this is not
this scholar that wrote this book in the 1930s.
So this is what people believe, not actual fact. Although there may be a little bit of crossover whenever it's convenient.
Okay, well, I know about amulets and talismans and how they work.
All right.
Hit me up.
Okay, according to steppingstonesgreenwich.co.uk.
Okay, they're British.
Yeah.
British crazy people.
It's a very British centric view of the thing.
That makes sense.
It starts off with the oldest amulets found in Britain were made of Baltic amber and dated to 30,000 years ago.
That is totally, absolutely 100% true.
Yeah, that's real. Their importance to the people at the time is shown by how far the amber had traveled from their point of origin. According to these people, it shows that the people who carried these things around with them valued them very highly because they took them really far from where they got them initially. So they carried them around wherever they went, according to them.
I feel it. Because here's the thing. In the Baltic Sea, amber washes the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's so cheap in certain parts of Europe that you can spend 50 euros and get a shit ton of amber pieces. Because it literally washes up on the beach. And I actually own quite a bit of amber because it's Amber's super cool.
Yeah, amber's awesome.
Like, it's fossilized tree resin. So it's not a crystal.
Yeah, it's not a crystal. Like, that's a funny thing.
You can melt them.
On pretty much every website, I found amber among the list of crystals, even though it's legitimately not a crystal.
Amber's not a crystal. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I have several pieces. I'm not wearing any right now. But my favorite piece is this huge chunk of green amber, which is rare anyway. But the little specks of shit you find in amber, those are called inclusions. And there are bits of pollen and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's super, super cool. And this big old chunk of green amber I bought when I was in the Czech Republic for like 20 euros. So it's really big too. Like, it's quite big. And it's just like, it's currently, it washes up on the beach. Back then, washed up on the beach. it's not like it was super rare in the region, right? So, but it's also cool, and I totally vibe with people who would carry it around.
Yeah, like if I was a simple Stone Age person and I found a piece of amber, I'd be like, this is fucking awesome, I'm taking this.
For real.
Like, you don't even know why you're keeping it. You're just like, this is unique, I'm keeping this.
Yeah, like, amber's really cool. It's one of my favorites.
And just like we said in the earlier episode, when you have something unique and unusual, you tend to make up a story to explain it.
Yeah. Because the real story, that it's fossilized tree resin from millions and millions of years ago, is lit. Yeah, like, it's super, super cool.
It's arguably more interesting than the shit people made up about it.
Yeah, like, it's like, I'm wearing a fossil, bruh. What about you? You know? Like, that's why I think it's really cool, and that's why I like to wear it.
Okay, the website goes on to say that during the Paleolithic era, so like Stone Age, like beads, bracelets, and necklaces made from jet were discovered in gravestones in Belgium and Switzerland.
Well, yeah, because...
Yeah, amulets and shit.
It has power.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's a weird object that you can't explain, therefore that gives it power, right? And amulets work and are valuable because of your belief in them.
Yeah.
They don't actually protect you from the evil eye.
Yeah.
You know, it's that it's your belief in the thing makes you feel better, so you don't feel like someone's gonna curse you. like that's how they work. Trust me on this. I have a research paper about it.
So, crystals were included in magic formulas in ancient Sumeria, and the ancient Egyptians used crystals like lapis lazuli, carnelian, turquoise, and clear quartz, and emeralds in amulets and jewelry for health and protection.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, that's all true.
That's all true.
That's all stuff, yeah, that's, like, they base... Like, all the ancient stuff is based on legitimately true things because, you know, ancient men really like shiny.
And in Sumeria and in other parts of Mesopotamia, a lot of their amulets actually were just written out, like carved into something. And you'll actually find these, all the way into the Roman period, where people like carve spells into things for protection or harm.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite one is, like, somebody buried a lead scroll with a spell on it, basically cursing his opponent in the hippodrome, like, to make sure his horses crashed or some shit. Like, so it's like, people have been doing this, and I just think written amulets of protection and bounty are I think, more interesting than just jewelry.
So the Greeks named quartz after their word for ice because they believed that it was water that had frozen so deeply it remained solid forever.
That's dope.
I know, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
And amethysts were worn to prevent drunkenness and hangovers. If only it worked.
Yeah.
Like, if that was true, then we would all have amethysts all the time. Although, to prevent drunkenness, that kind of seems like it defeats the purpose. I suppose if you're super into, like, wine tasting or something, then you would wear it so you could taste it without actually having to get drunk.
Fuck that.
The hematite was ground up and rubbed on soldiers' bodies before battle in the hopes that it would make them invulnerable.
That probably turn their skin, like, red or something, too.
Yeah, it would make them look badass.
Really iron, yeah.
And in ancient China, jade was the popular healing stone, recognized for its kidney healing abilities and bringing good luck.
I'm down. The one thing I will say, the Chinese know their shit, so if anybody's right about crystal healing, it'd be the ancient Chinese.
Yeah, there's a lot of the crystal healing stuff has a lot of crossover with ancient culture, with Asian cultures and beliefs.
Well, Chinese medicine's, like, super interesting.
Yeah, like, the whole
balancing in the body and
like
stuff.
the chi system and the stabby needles, acupuncture, and like directing chi throughout the body by using acupuncture. That is very closely related to what crystal healing is trying to do. Yeah, I mean,
most of my knowledge of ancient medicine like revolves around humoral theory, so like I'm more familiar with that. I can see how it connects to crystals, though.
Here's just some more history. According to EnergyMuse.com, Romans used healing stones as talismans and adornments to enhance health and provide protection in battle. Here's something I found a little interesting. Ancient Egyptians used quartz crystal and other healing gemstones to guide their loved ones safely into the afterlife. And royal kings and queens were adorned with lapis lazuli, rubies, and other gemstones to promote enlightenment, foster sex appeal, and awaken their third eye chakra.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Because I found a digital copy of the Oxford History of Ancient Egypt, and I did like a fine search on the text. The word chakra does not appear anywhere in the book.
You don't even need to do that, because...
Like ancient Egyptians,
Egypt, they weren't really even in contact with ancient India.
Like, they didn't believe in chakra. Like, this is saying, like, that's why they did it. Was because they were bringing the chakras into alignment and all that shit. But they didn't even believe in chakras.
Shit, these motherfuckers watching Naruto and all that shit. Trying to get their chakras in line.
Okay. In India, Ayurvedic medicine valued gemstones for healing emotional and metaphysical imbalances, and their use is recorded in the Hindu Vedas.
That's dope, because that's pretty close to how they're saying crystals work now.
Yeah, like a lot of modern crystal healing and the interpretation of which crystals do what is based on old Hindu writings.
But I mean, again, if it's the thought that gives a thing power. If someone tells you, hey, I know you're pissing blood, and it's shitty.
And it probably hurts.
But listen, here's some water. I put a crystal in that thing. Just drink a bunch of water with this crystal in it.
Say these magic words over it.
And like, you think the crystal's helping you, but really it's the water.
It's just the water.
So, but you're like, I swear up and down, I stopped peeing blood after I've been drinking this crystal water, y'all. Like,
yeah. Okay. It's one of those things where it's just misattribution of effects. Like, you just throwing everything against the wall and...
Whatever sticks is what...
But you, like, instead of saying, like, oh, I put the crystal in the water, therefore the crystal's helping, like, instead of saying, oh, it's actually the water. Like, you just because you did something extra as opposed to something you do every day that makes it significant.
It's like all anecdotal evidence, you know?
Yeah, like, it's... All early medicine was just people trying shit that worked before.
Yeah.
Regardless of how it actually worked.
Sometimes people died.
Okay. But here's where it gets good. Some tie the origins of crystal healing to the times of Atlantis.
Shit, yeah. I've seen that Disney movie. They healed with crystals.
The Atlanteans used their advanced technology to grow crystals to gigantic sizes for various uses, which enabled their society to flourish. So what made Atlantis so advanced was the massive crystal technology that they had.
Dude, the Disney's Atlantis is real.
Yeah, I'm sure they did their research.
They did. Mm-hmm.
However, it was the misuse of these crystal energies that caused Atlantis to fail in the catastrophic event.
Disney's Atlantis! That's what happened!
And also, there's this website that just randomly mentioned this, so I had to include it. The crystal skulls, namely the Mitchell Hedges skull, are also tied to crystal energy due to people interacting with them and having a variety of mystical experiences. So, the crystal skull that's been just thoroughly debunked by many people.
It's the thought that gives a thing power.
Yeah, so the crystal skull, we'll probably have a whole episode on that later, because that's its own thing. Okay, then the Christian church starts to get involved. According to crystalage.com, amulets were banned by the Christian church in 355 AD, but gemstones continued to play an important role, with sapphire being the favored gem for ecclesiastical rings in the 12th century.
I think that entire sentence was fucking bullshit. Amulets were never banned.
Well, it says amulets were banned, but gemstones continued to play an important role.
Well, then amulets weren't banned.
Amulets are gemstones.
Fucking stupid.
And Marbodus, the bishop of Rennes in the 11th century, claimed that agate would make the wearer more agreeable, persuasive, and in favor of God.
Dope.
Like, I'm sure that's written down somewhere. I didn't really look into it, but it sounded interesting. Okay, then steppingstonegreenwich.co.uk goes on to mention that during the Renaissance in 11th century Europe, precious and semi-precious stones were used alongside herbal remedies to heal the sick. So
which was true.
Just throw it in there. It can't hurt.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it was like drink the water with the ruby in it,
Yeah.
Like, that was really common. Also, it wasn't unheard of for other things like unicorn horns to be used in this. Like, the more exotic the ingredient you could put into, like, a posset, the more effective it would be, and the more efficacious the herbs would become.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, when you attribute the same effect to two different things, combine those things together, and just, you're stacking your buffs, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just making it stronger. They play off each other. And in 1609, a court physician of Rudolf II of Germany named Anselmus de Boot claimed that gemstones got their healing abilities from the presence of good or bad angels. Because everything was about angels back then.
Well, he's not talking about angels.
So like, angels, like, as a metaphor for, like, energy? Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, they're talking about magic, is what they're talking about.
Yeah, like, they just use angels because...
And magic works, one, because of belief, two, because of cosmic energy juju waves. I have a book somewhere around here about how it worked. And it was, like, the combination... Like, so he's saying angels, but what he's referring to is the energy that gives the magic its power to work.
And did they, like, use angels... Like, did they include the terminology of angels just so they could rope magic into the church without it being a big deal?
They didn't really have... It's not magic as we would call it. That's one of the things that makes studying magic historically difficult, because they're not using... Like, are there spells? Is there logic behind how they work? Like, yes, you know, there is. It's cosmic energy that's giving the spell power, and in some cases, angels were like a metaphor for that. But it's not like the church was filled with magic, because that's not true.
Yeah.
Were some members of the clergy studying it? Yes. Like, my homeboy Thomas fucking Aquinas, man. He's one that believed in cosmic energy power juju. It's very cool. There's, like, entire books written about this. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, it says later in that century, so it's the same year. So in the 1600s, Thomas Nichols stated that crystals had no healing effects because they were inanimate, and as a result, crystal healing fell out of favor in Europe. Which I guess could be true. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's when you're talking about history, though, like, you're not really getting a full picture, and you never will.
Yeah.
The only way to know is to look really...
Like, all we have are the records written by certain people.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have no idea if they're actually telling the
truth.
So
if you look at the archaeological record for this period, you may find a bunch of fucking crystals, which would indicate that they were using them for something, right?
Yeah. And then CrystalAge.com ends by saying, in the 1980s, with the advent of the New Age culture, the use of crystals and gemstones began to re-emerge as a healing method. Much of the practice was drawn from old traditions, with more information gained by experimentation and channeling. Books by Katrina Raphael in the 80s, Melody and Michael Ganger in the 90s helped to popularize the use of crystals.
So this isn't...
I have information on these people.
I don't care. I don't care about them. And I will say, though, that during that period, the New Agey Renaissance period from, like...
The 80s and 90s?
Well, probably, like, the 60s to early 90s.
Well, hippies kind of did this, but it really came about in the 80s. Like, it got super popular.
Well, no. I'm saying, like, that period was a reactionary period to post-war, like, the post-Second World War era that we were living in. And during this period is when a lot of pagan beliefs come back into play here.
Yeah, like people trying to reconnect with the earth. And
yeah,
shit like
it's a reaction to what has happened, which was horrible. You know, the bombing of London, like absolute decimation of the continent. It's not a surprise to me that this came back into popularity in England the same time paganism and Wicca became a thing.
Yeah, like I used to know...
I'm not surprised. In fact, I would say I would expect them to go together.
Yeah, my ex from high school, who claimed to be Wiccan, had all kinds of crystals and shit all around that she... Like, and her great aunt, who was a Reiki healer, also had lots of crystals.
Well, crystals are important in Wicca.
Like, crystals are technically like an occult thing. So all that different shit all kind of melds together. Like all the different occult beliefs all usually involve crystals. I wouldn't call Wicca
an occult belief. It's a religion.
It falls in the category.
I don't think so, but we will disagree on that.
I'm not saying personally I categorize it. I mean, if you were to look it up, Wicca falls into occult shit.
I don't think it's a cult. But when I think of a cult, I think of like satanic panic shit.
Well, yeah, it's a cult.
But Wicca is not that.
Like anyone who would categorize Satanism as a cult, usually, Christian people would also throw Wiccan into that basket too. Like anything that's not Christian is technically a cult, according to Christians.
What do they know?
Okay, but how to actually heal with crystals? I found some guides on how to do it.
Yeah, just give me... Please don't read all of this, but give me, good points, okay?
Okay, basically you have to... When you get a crystal, first you have to cleanse it.
Okay. Because it could, someone dirty could have touched it, or...
Or it just could have residual shit from just who
bad
knows
juju.
What.
Yeah, you gotta give it good juju.
So there's a bunch of different ways to cleanse it. You could submerge it in salt water for a couple hours. You could bury them in your garden for a couple of days. Or you could leave them in a slow-running stream or outside in water overnight to bask in the moonlight.
I'm down. Water is a purifying element. So it would make sense to me that, according to the ancient magics that I've studied, water is purifying, right? So... I get it. I'm down. It's salt water more than anything else because it has salt in it too.
It's mostly tapping into the quote-unquote earth energies. So you would put it into a natural environment to make it more in tune with the earth's energies that are present in nature or whatever. There's immerse your crystal in the smoke of a burning sage stick, frankincense resin, or copal incense. Place your crystal out under the light of the sun or the full moon for at least 4 hours. If it's a smaller crystal, you can place it on top of a clear quartz crystal or selenite crystal to clear and cleanse the stuck energy.
Gotcha.
So just clear it out, make it an empty vessel. Then hold it in your hands, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Reflect on your faith, the earth, and what makes you happy. This will connect you to your highest vibration. Ooh. Your highest vibration may be associated with religious belief, God, simply divine power, or some scientific connection like 0-point energy, which is not really a thing. I can get into that later. And while in this space of love and light, ask that your crystal be cleared of all unwanted energy or previous programming. Because when you put your intentions into a crystal, they call it programming.
It's the power of thought.
Yeah, this is all magical thinking stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, whatever. Do you, man. I ain't gonna stop you from your crystal vibes, okay?
You charge your crystal with the positive energy. Focus your intent to program it. Because certain crystals have inherent qualities already, so depending on the kind of crystal and the shape and all that, it's more susceptible to certain kinds of thoughts. So you have to put certain thoughts into certain crystals based on their shape and color and what minerals they're made of and blah blah.
I mean, the internal logic with that makes sense.
Yeah, red is the color of action and energy. White, clear stones help you see more clearly. Purple stones assist in transformation and change, and the number of facets on the crystal also influence the qualities of crystals based on numerology.
Numerology.
So numerology is a fun thing.
I mean, let's talk about the clear crystal. It's clarity. It's unfortunately.
It's a very literal interpretation.
Unfortunately, you wrote "see more clearly."
Well, that's what the website said.
But what they mean is perceive more clearly.
Yeah, they're very general terms that can be applied to pretty much anything.
And perception is different than sight.
This is basically astrology that's using rocks in front of you instead of planets off in space.
That's cool.
So it's, whatever makes you happy, I guess. And they program it by... It says to say aloud or in your head, I ask that the highest vibration of love and light connect with my highest self to clear all unwanted energy or any previous programming. I command this crystal to hold the intention of... ...
It's a spell.
And add 3 intentions to your crystal, energies that you wish it to hold for you. End by repeating thank you 3 times. Saying it 3 times, you emphasize what you're asking for already exists in the universe.
If it already exists, you can just pick it up and it'll work for you.
Yeah.
Well, this is cool.
Yeah, it's harmless, and it makes people feel good, so it's not too bad. Once the crystals have been cleansed and reprogrammed, they're placed on the patient's body over their chakras to invigorate the chakras with energy or draw out the negative energy that's trapped in the chakras.
And so these are what, our 7 chakras or whatever? Boom,
yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. And all the chakras do different things.
Yeah, like the color of the crystal should correspond with the color of the chakra. There's the root chakra that's red. It's based on the base of your spine, so like the crotch.
It's your dick. It's your dick chakra.
The sacral chakra, located right below the belly button. That one's orange. The plexus chakra is yellow. It's located from the center of your belly button. The heart chakra is green, located over your heart. The throat chakra is blue, located in the center of your collarbone. And the third eye chakra is indigo. It's located between your eyebrows. And the crown chakra, violet or white, on the top of your head. And the crystals can also be arranged around the body. Like, not just on the chakras, but around the body in strategic places around the patient's body.
Shit, I think I need a crystal healing. I'm feeling it. Sounds like a good ASMR session is what I'm feeling, you know?
Yeah, well, if you just sit there and listen to someone...
that's...
just, like, moving rocks around in a bowl.
For me, like, part of what makes a massage amazing, it's not just... like the touching and like working out of kinks in your muscles. It's that sensory experience, you know? Like you're in a warm room. Hot stone massage is really interesting and cool because, you know, they put hot rocks on you and it helps relieve tension in your body. Like I had one done once because I had that girlfriend who did massage, and she put rocks in between my toes.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And it was like, damn, like this is working for me. Like I felt really great. And it's for a massage, it's like that sensory experience that relaxes you physically and mentally. Now I've actually had a Reiki healing session before. I don't believe in it. Okay, let's just be clear. I don't think that it's real. But there's no doubt in my mind that I left that session feeling better.
Yeah, like...
and more relaxed and in less pain.
Yeah, like, if you had just lain there and just listened to someone tell you that you will feel better at the end of this, then you would feel better at the end of it.
No,
like,
she didn't say nothing like that. She was like, we're just going to try this.
Yeah, just the motion of doing it. It's like hypnosis, kind of.
Well, no, it's like you're in a dim room. You know, your eyes are closed. You're focusing on your breath, which I think is maybe more powerful than anything as a novice yogi. Yeah, all right, let me tell you that.
It's like guided meditation.
Which also works amazingly well.
Yeah.
But like this Reiki session, she was like pulling strings out from me. Weird as shit, but I tell you, man, I felt it. I felt something anyway.
Yeah, that's like borderline hypnosis stuff, where they just told you that the power of suggestion.
Well, it's like, it works. And for me, like, that type of thing, especially ASMR, really helps me relax. And it's you know, visual and auditory. And, like, you know, listening to an ASMR video before bed knocks me the fuck out. But if I'm, like, actually getting a massage or actually with another person and they're doing similar things, it's 30 times better.
Right.
And, like, I gotta schedule a massage right now. Like, I feel like I need one. It's been, like, probably 3 years since I had a massage. And massages work best when you do them regularly. And, like, shit, maybe I'll even get a crystal healing session. Like, it sounds, like, pretty chill.
Yeah, like, it's definitely like a spa treatment type of deal. Or whether or not it actually does anything, you feel better afterwards.
Well, that's because it's not the crystals, it's this relaxation and the breath and, like, unplugging, I think, that's more valuable, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of
someone paying attention to you, like hearing relaxing noises.
A lot of the guides on how to receive a crystal healing involves, like, just relax yourself a lot. Like, just relax and calm.
Focus on your breath.
Yeah, like, that type of stuff. Like, the crystals are completely secondary.
to the relaxation.
The thing that's actually working. Like, the crystals are the crystal in the water when you're drinking the crystal potion, because it's actually the water that's helping you.
And it's like, it's probably too, like, the music there.
Yeah, like, it's all designed specifically to relax and calm you down.
I've had a lot of massages and weird shit like that, you know, and it's like, it definitely works. And I mean, if you want to pay $90 an hour for a crystal healing session, when really you could do self-guided meditation on YouTube for free, get the same result, you know, do you get to support those businesswomen and men hustling?
Okay, putting the colored crystals on the chakras and stuff balances the aura, opens the chakras, and releases old debris, which is no longer needed.
I got debris.
Like, I don't know what the hell they mean by debris.
I don't know, but I got it, man.
But it's a thing. Not doing that can lead to physical diseases. So not clearing your chakras and your aura can cause physical things to happen.
This is kind of stupid, because...
Yeah, that's the part where it starts to get into the realm of, okay, now you're just bullshitting.
One of the things about massage specifically, and this goes for acupressure and acupuncture too, it's like you can physically clear your lymphatic system with massage, which will make you feel better. It will increase your fitness, you know, like not your fitness like buff fitness, but like your body's ability to fight disease and stuff. Like I think there's legitimate science behind it. Behind that type of thing. Like
crystal healing, there's as minimal physical contact as possible.
Which, I mean, I'd be more on board if they were actually putting crystals on you. Because acupressure is like this, there's an acupressure point between your thumb and forefinger, like where your bones come together, that helps with headaches. This is legit.
Yeah.
Like, I've used it. I was taught how to do it for myself. Like...
Yeah, the crystal healing, you don't, like, put the crystal on and push down or anything. No,
you just set it.
You lightly lay it there, and just the crystal's vibrational energy interacts with their chakra's vibrational energy and all that shit. Like, that's how it's supposed to be working.
But acupressure, you're not supposed to push really hard. You're supposed to just set. So, like, setting a crystal onto an acupressure point probably does something.
Yeah, like, maybe. Like, they could be just getting their signals crossed, and, like, they're doing this certain way because it worked in the past, but the mechanism for how it's working, they could be completely wrong about.
Like, acupressure and acupuncture have been practiced for 3,000 years. Like, like, they work, okay? Like,
wasn't it the Iceman had acupuncture tattoos on his body to show, so all the different like shaman knew how to treat him and stuff like that. Like, that's pretty cool.
It's for real. Like, I'm a believer. It looks scary. Like, dry needling looks terrifying. Like, we saw a video about it last week. I would do it. A lot of insurances will cover acupressure or acupuncture sessions too. They won't, like, our insurance will cover that. Should you need acupuncture for chronic pain.
I'm interested in trying it. I don't know if I'd get anything out of it, but it seems interesting.
Oh, you'd get something out of it. You'd get a bunch of needles in your body.
Needles stuck in you. Okay, there was a website that I went to that had, like, a course on crystal healing that you had to, quote-unquote, pay for, but, like, the introductory part of it was $0, so I signed up for it so I could get the literature and shit on it. And towards the end of it, they started mentioning crystal elixirs. Which is something that's really close to what you were talking about.
I've heard of these, yeah.
You place water and stones in a bowl, cover with cling wrap, and set in the bowl in sunlight. As the sun warms the water, an ion exchange is stimulated, and the properties of the crystals infuse into the water. And you can drink the water, the elixir, within 24 hours, or bottle it by mixing 75% of the elixir with 25% brandy.
Well, the brandy is what's making you feel good.
I know. Like, at that point, it's not even about the water or the crystals. You're just drinking brandy. It's just watered down brandy.
There's this celebrity, and I keep telling you about this woman, but I can't remember who it is. It's not Demi Moore.
There's a bunch of them.
It's like... but they talk about it on Good Mythical Morning, and that's how I know about it.
They live in California. There's all kinds of hoopy-froopy shit out there.
But, like, she makes money off of selling this shit.
All of these websites, like, there's not a single website about crystal healing that doesn't also sell crystals.
We gotta get in on this.
It's a big, like, money-making scheme that works.
Yeah, like, because you can make acrylic crystal pyramids with shit inside of them.
Speaking of that,
and we could sell those.
There's a website that recommended making the elixirs inside of a pyramid.
What?
To take advantage of the effects of pyramid power. Because you can use the pyramid power as a replacement for the sun creating an ion exchange. Oh. So instead of the sun warming the water and all that, the pyramid power, just because of how its effect on reality causes the ion exchange to happen instead of... And for some reason she recommended putting multiple crystals into an enclosed space and then putting that into the water. So there's no actual physical contact between the water and the crystals. I mean,
well then how does ion exchange happen, bitch?
I don't know. Because of the pyramid, I guess. Because she says this extends the infusion period from 24 hours to 7 days. And making an elixir during a waxing mood adds energy of growth.
That's some Wicca shit.
Yeah, this is some just... let's pretend this is science. Like, I meditated and this idea popped into my head, so it's gotta be true.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's goofy. Okay, so now let's get into how crystals allegedly work. Some people say that the crystal chooses you instead of the other way around. Either it's the dazzling colors or otherworldly shapes and patterns that draw you in. Each crystal has a unique vibrational energy to clear blockages and ward off negative energy.
Ooh.
Hold the stone in your hand and quietly think of your attention. Notice if you feel sensations such as hot or cold, pulsation, or calmness and tranquility.
Ooh.
These are all signs that a particular rock is perfect for your healing needs. So either...
I gotta start picking rocks up.
Either you feel something or you don't. That means that this one's perfect.
Oh.
Good. That's a good rule to follow. Okay, the repeating chemical structures of crystals invest them with a kind of memory so they can hold energies. Which is not entirely bullshit. Like, that's how crystals used in technology, like, they use lasers to etch information into them. But
you're etching information to it. Yeah. It's not like the crystal molecules are holding it.
Yeah, it's like they're alleging that you can use the power of thought to do the same thing as a fucking laser.
Well, you can use the power of thought to do anything, brah. Anything, man.
They vibrate at different levels depending on their composition and color, and they can clear cellular memories in your joints, cells, and bones, which causes harm. So, like, diseases and physical ailments are caused by cellular memories that are trapped in your bones, joints, and cells.
Well, muscle memory is a real thing.
Yeah, muscle memory is a thing.
And your neurons do remember
our memories.
but they use the same connections over and over again to do things. So, I mean, can our cells hold memories? Not like, oh, I remember when I was at the beach this one time and I found a crab. No, they can't do that. But, like, I think they can hold responses.
Yeah, like repeated behaviors affect them in a way that they come to expect certain things. Like that was part in this.
And I think that's why, like, I watched an acupuncturist once talk about muscle memory, and like you can reprogram, so to speak, like a muscle group using needles to relax them. Because you're like forcing them to unclench or whatever. I'm just saying that, I mean, that exists.
Yeah, like there's a lot of kind of not really fringe medicine, but just not very common medicine that, like, kind of alternative medicine, kind of not, that corresponds with this shit so that there's a little bit of actual effectiveness going on. But then they say things like crystal fields interact with our aura and our energy chakras.
Well, auras don't exist, so...
And they say that this interaction can be photographed with a Kirlian camera.
It's not true.
Which is that form of photography that can allegedly take pictures of your aura, which has been debunked many times. Like, it's just... isn't really clear what it's taking a picture of, but it's not your fucking aura. Yeah, energy derives from the vibrational energies of the stones and the people, so the energy of the stone and the energy of the people interact, and that's how it does its thing.
Okay.
The crystal energy is shaped, amplified, and discharged from a crystal's termination and goes out rather like ripples in a pond, creating a rhythmic pattern that pulses in harmony.
What's that shit?
So like the crystal termination, that's like where it comes to a point. Yeah.
Well, I know about that, yeah.
Like the basic template can be modified or directed by other energy such as magnetism, color waves, intention, or the power of thought passing through it. I'm not totally sure what that sentence means, but it has all
You put it down!
This is copied word for word from the website. Like, I'm just like, this is what they say.
Wait, crystals contain therapeutic minerals? Well, that's not true.
That's what some people, like, they think that it just has... like minerals and chemicals in them that just transfer into your body through the mechanisms of scalar waves. Which
crystals... No. Rocks are made of minerals. Crystals can be minerals, I would think. Right?
Yeah, crystals are composed of minerals. And certain gemstones contain chemicals and stuff in them that cause their color. So, yeah. There's one thing in here was very... I'll come into it later about the chemical composition of certain gems. Okay, they claim that mechanism of scalar waves that's doing it. So what a scalar wave is a type of electromagnetic wave that works outside of physics as we know it.
Okay, so we already know that it's made up and it's totally not real.
Yeah, because...
There are things in our physics model that we just have in there to make equations work. You know, like dark energy. But, so, I mean, are there things outside of our knowledge? Yes. But if nobody in the scientific community thinks that the thing could even possibly exist, it's not true.
Yeah, like, if we have no instruments that can detect it in any way, shape, or form, that doesn't mean our instruments are bad. That means it isn't there.
Well, it doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just that we just can't prove it. Like, we know dark matter exists, but we can't measure it.
Well, we
can't do anything with it, but we know something's there.
Like, we know it's there because of the effects it has. They're claiming that it's proven by the effects that there are no effects. Like, it's all in their heads. But that's their evidence for it being real. Okay, Nikola Tesla was interested in...
that guy was a kook, though.
Yeah, he was interested in scalar waves towards the end of his life. You know,
he was going crazy.
The time where he fell in love with a pigeon.
Hey, that pigeon was thick.
It has since been adopted by some alternative medicine practitioners, and conspiracy theorists hold that scalar waves are behind weather-changing super weapons that brought down the Space Shuttle Columbia.
The Space Shuttle Columbia had a piece of heating panel that popped off.
Yeah.
I seen it on the news. I'm traumatized still by the thought of all those astronauts' body parts falling all over the fucking state of Texas. We know why it blew up. I hate it when people co-opt a tragedy like that.
Yeah, like every big tragic event that's happened has a conspiracy theory involved with it somehow.
I remember vividly the Columbia disaster because I was at my grandparents' house and we were putting a quilt together and we saw it on the news and I followed it to the completion when they figure out what happened because I was like, I need to know why this horrible thing happened, you know?
When did it happen?
It happened, I was probably like 8 or 9 years old.
It was like late 80s when it happened. I think it happened before I was born.
The Challenger did.
Yeah.
The Challenger was the one with the teacher on it. Remember?
I mixed those up.
It blew up when they were launched. Yeah, Columbia is the one where it broke up on re-entry because a piece of heating tile flew off and hit something else. Or, like, it created a weak point in the shuttle. I mean, motherfucking space shuttle's going so fucking fast, y'all. Like, that's why it gets so hot.
But according to Dr. Valerie V. Hunt, bioscalar waves are alive with checked and balanced energies that cancel each other out so they cannot be measured or evaluated by the instruments we use.
That's hilarious. Because she's saying that they're real, but we can't measure them because they cancel each other out. You're making this up.
They don't exist, which is why we can't detect them. But they don't exist because they do exist. They exist in a way that makes them seem like they don't exist.
Jesus, Victoria.
She says it is a strong, huge, yet passive force. Only its effects tell us it exists in space and has power. Even though she just said that it doesn't actually exist and has no effects.
Shut up, Victoria. I don't care anymore about her.
Okay. Bioscalar waves assist cell membranes in switching on most beneficial genetic functions and switching off detrimental patterns encoded within DNA.
We already know that's not true. Because there are mechanisms within the nucleus of the cell that do that. Those aren't next to the cell membrane. Like, we know how it works. Like, we know how proteins are switched on and off. Like, we know objectively how that works. What the shit? Fuck you, lady. You crazy asshole? Okay.
According to this, they enhance the immune and endocrine systems, stabilize chemical processes, improve the coherence of the biomagnetic field.
They're talking about hormones.
Well, according to this does all those things.
Bioscalar waves are hormones.
That hormones do. So it's like it's a non-pharmaceutical way to do the same thing.
Listen, no fucking crystal in the whole fucking world, in the whole fucking universe, is going to fucking cure my endometriosis. The only thing that makes it stop, from tearing my life apart, is hormone therapy. So suck a cock, basically.
They also release stored emotions and ingrained thoughts from cellular structures of the body, removing a root cause of psychosomatic disease.
Alright, so real talk though. Before we started recording this, I put on a necklace made of opal. Something is going on. Because the more you read, the more angry I'm getting. So this crystal is affecting me.
Yeah, it's causing...
psychologically.
Yeah, it's making you angry. Because you put on the crystal and for no other reason.
Oh my god.
Okay, and then here's some actual legit information about scalar waves. In physics, a quantity described as scalar only contains information about its magnitude.
Only about its magnitude.
The magnetic food. In contrast, a vector quantity contains information about its magnitude and its direction. So, in contrast, electromagnetic waves are vector quantities derived as solutions to a set of vector wave equations. So, scalar waves in physics would be defined as any solution to a scalar wave equation. So, a scalar wave is just sort of like the definition of the solution to a equation, and it's not an actual thing it's not a mechanism that exists in nature.
None of that means anything.
It's like a theoretical thing.
It doesn't mean anything though. It's like made up, like all of it.
It's a sciencey sounding word that they applied to this thing that doesn't exist to make it sound real.
They're so dumb, y'all.
Now here's some evidence, like their alleged evidence that the crystal healing is real. Crystals have a very high and precise rate of vibration, so they are utilized extensively in modern technology, ranging from liquid crystal diodes and calculators and clocks to for their use in very computer. In the very computer you're reading this on. I looked up liquid crystal diodes because liquid crystal displays like TVs and shit. It's not actually made of crystals. Like liquid crystal is a certain kind of liquid that when you pass energy through it, it behaves atomically like a crystal, but it's not a crystal. That's just a term that they use that has crystal in it. So they're like, oh, well, this is crystals too. So obviously crystals can do magic technology things with your thoughts or whatever.
Plus, we barely even use LCD shit anymore.
Well, lots of displays. I'm pretty sure this TV is LCD.
I'm pretty sure. I thought it was LED.
LED screens, LED TVs and monitors are just LCD things that use LED for the backlight. So they're all LCD.
Well, excuse me. Please continue.
It's possible for crystals to communicate through computer chips. Then isn't it possible that this vibrational energy could be transformed in other ways?
I didn't think there were crystals in my computer.
Yeah. They use crystals in...
silicone is in my computer.
Certain different kinds of... crystals have this certain property called piezoelectricity, where if you apply mechanical pressure to a crystal, it builds up an electrical charge. So they just use that property to use for like really small technology and shit to like store up energy and produce energy and shit based on mechanical stuff. So it's not like it's a magical. There's the actual legit science to explain how they work and how they're used.
Okay.
So like when they say they use crystals for technology, they're right. They're just mischaracterizing it to justify their illegitimate bullshit.
Okay.
Okay, one of the first pieces of scientific evidence relating to the power of crystals is a work done by IBM scientist Marcel Vogel, who, while watching crystals grow under a microscope, noticed that their shape took the form of whatever he was thinking about.
But that's bullshit. That's anecdotal evidence.
Yeah, he's a fascinating dude.
You can't, like, if you were to test that scientifically, you would need controls, you would need subjects, you would need to replicate it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm sure this is something that has never been replicated.
And I'm pretty sure, like...
But the fact that
just because
legit scientist did it once proves that it's a thing, even though it's never been replicated.
So what was it like? Like, he's, like, chilling at his microscope, like... I'm just watching this, blah, 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 in this solution precipitate and crystallize, and I'm thinking about dick, and a dick-shaped crystal grew.
Essentially, yeah. Like... According to him. And on one website they say, Albert Einstein said that everything in life is vibration, and just like sound waves, your thoughts match the vibrations of everything that manifests in your life. Therefore, if you think crystals have healing potential, the positive vibes of the stone will amplify those thoughts.
If you think that crystals have healing potential, I mean, you're probably going to get some juju out of them. Is it going to cure your cancer? No.
But they love using...
But it'll make you feel happier, I guess.
Yeah. They love using this Albert Einstein quote, but I looked into it. Albert Einstein never said that.
Well, no. You can put any quotes on the internet.
It was a quote that was misattributed from a man named Daryl Anka, a New Age guru who claimed to be channeling a multidimensional extraterrestrial being named Bashar.
What the fuck?
But yeah, it was totally Einstein who said that.
Sure.
Now
I'll give it to you.
This Marcel Vogel guy is pretty funny. Like, he's a research scientist who worked for IBM for 27 years. Like,
doing what? What did he do?
Were
you able to find out?
He was a research scientist for IBM, so he did research for IBM. Like, the first half of his career is actually legitimate. He did
that doesn't mean anything to me. I could be a research scientist.
You know, they referred to him as Dr. Vogel, even though he only had an honorary degree. He did not ever get an actual PhD. And later in his life, he got interested in theories of quartz crystals and other occult, esoteric fields of study. And
who doesn't? I mean, the more you stay in your job and in doing the same shit every day, the more you're gonna be like, I need to read about fucking rituals, man.
Witchcraft and killing my boss with my thoughts.
Yeah, like that's probably what happened to him.
There is a guy named Billy Meyer, who is a Swiss man who claims to be in contact with aliens, who he calls the Plagiarians, and claims to be the seventh reincarnation. So Enoch, Elijah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Jesus, Mohammed, Billy Meyer.
Yo, what up, Billy?
So he gave...
Forgive my sins, homeboy.
He gave this Marcel Vogel guy a metal sample that he claimed to be from aliens. And Marcel Vogel examined it and marveled at its unusual properties, claiming that it was the element thulium, which is used in lasers and surgical applications, is non-toxic, and is principally found in the mineral monazite, a rare phosphate mineral, which contains about 20 parts per million of thulium. So thulium's a super rare metal. Like, it's a legit element, but it's super, super uncommon. But later, independent investigators saw the sample and said that it was aluminum. Like, it's...
Well, that's the thing.
It's just a piece of metal.
We don't know who fucking Marcel, like, what he was researching.
Well, this is when he was older.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, somebody gave him this knowing he was a researcher, but then we don't know what the fuck he researched. Ever. Fuck you, Marcel.
And the sample disappeared shortly after he examined it.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Jeez, what happened?
All we need is one semi-legitimate guy to say one crazy thing about it, and that legitimizes it. Marcel also claimed that he could reproduce the Baxter effect. which is an effect observed by a man named Cleve Baxter, who claimed that he could show that plants could perceive the world around them in a similar way to how ESP works in humans.
Stop right now. Of course they can. They're plants. They go at a slower pace than the rest of us, spine-having motherfuckers. But, yeah, they know where the sun is. They know how to grow. If you watch a time-lapse of a vine, you can see it reaching out to try to grab stuff. Does it have a sense of self? Probably not. But it does have a sense of, itself in space.
Yeah, this was part of that, what was it called? It was like some bioenergy thing where they would attach electrodes to a plant, and then they would rip up another plant next to it, and according to the readings on the machine, the plant that was next to it could tell that a plant next to it was getting destroyed.
Did they hook it up to a dog or something instead?
Yeah, they hooked it up to people and stuff, and it was completely inconsistent.
Yeah, you can't know. If you run an experiment and none of your results mean anything, you fucked up, buddy.
Marcel Vogel said that plants could respond to human thought, regardless of distance, and was a proponent of research into the consciousness of plants. In his later life.
Fucking kook, man.
And this Valerie Hunt lady, who I mentioned earlier, she had a BS in biology from Florida State College, an MA in physiological psychology from Columbia, and an EDD.
It's an education degree.
In science education from Columbia. So, she started in, the 30s and had a long, legitimate career up until the 70s when she started doing some really questionable, weird research.
It's the LSD, bro. It fucked her up a little.
She started doing stuff into vibrations and psychoenergetic systems and became a director of the Bioenergy Fields Laboratory in Malibu, California in the 90s.
Sounds like LSD caused that.
She was the first to measure the human bioenergy field and developed a high-frequency device known as the aura meter, which is capable of recording the electrical energy from the body surface.
It could be just heat that you see.
Yeah, it could be moisture evaporating.
Or it could be our fucking auras, man.
It doesn't matter to her. It's aura's gotta be. And she studied ritualistic healings and mysticism from the Orient, South America, Africa, and Pacific Islands. She claimed that during the 60s she had an unexplained direct line to NASA, and she had unknown secret power and juice to call NASA to instruct its scientists to make electromagnetic measurements and instruments on demand from her.
She's crazy.
Yeah, so she seemed to think that she could just control NASA and make them give her evidence to prove her harebrained theories.
Okay, Vicky. Whatever you say.
All of her groundbreaking work was published in a book called Infinite Mind, Science of Human Vibrations and Consciousness. There's one website that had a part called Points to Consider that I thought encapsulated this in a pretty funny way. Only 1,000 millionth part of our body is matter. The rest is energy.
That's everything all the time, forever.
But, matter is made of energy. She's claiming that no, it's all energy and just a tiny bit matter.
Well, maybe she's confused because technically we're mostly nothing atomically.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe she's just misunderstanding.
Yeah, if she's talking about that, then we're mostly empty space. But she's saying we're mostly energy. Which is just a really, fucking aura, new wave bullshit way of saying that you are, part of the earth energy and you're susceptible, so you worship the planet, basically. Which I'm not totally against. I mean, planet's important.
Nah, we can do without it.
Water is a crystalline structure. Not true. We already talked about that. Human body is around 57% water. That
seems low.
Every single time that you hear the body is so many percent water, it's always a different number.
And 57% seems really low.
Yeah, that seems super low. And water is found in every part of the body, therefore the human body is crystalline. Not true.
Except we already decided that water wasn't crystalline.
By the definition of crystal, no, it's not. Crystals generate, store, and radiate energy. Store energy, yes. Generate and radiate, there's no evidence of that. Quantum physics describes energy as controlling matter. Does it, though? Like, ever since the scalar waves shit fell out of fashion, they've been globbing onto quantum physics as, like, here's the legit science thing that explains all this crazy shit that we have no evidence for.
Quantum physics is just the physics of the very small.
Yeah, it's the physics of the quantum level.
Very, very small things.
But people hear, like, shit like entanglement and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, well, that's how psychic powers work. They don't realize that, like, that's on such a tiny level. It doesn't scale up exactly to the macroscopic level, but it sounds good, so just go with it.
It does sound pretty fucking cool.
Fundamental particles, just as electrons, influence each other at a considerable distance. Like
that's not even a sentence.
Each individual crystal carries the energetic resonance of the crystal type, no matter where in the world it may be. So, like, objectively, regardless of where a crystal came from, if it's the same kind of crystal, then it's always has the same effects.
Okay.
But if it's tapped into the earth energy, you'd think the earth energy would be different in different parts.
No, it's the same everywhere.
Everything is interconnected in such a way that the smallest piece contains the properties of the whole, in brackets, the holographic universe.
What?
Which is a book that I've read, actually. Like, the holographic universe is this theory that was around back in, like, the 60s.
That everything is made of rainbows.
Kind of. Like, according to this book, allegedly...
Wait, did
like,
you say kind of?
You're not that far off. Like, according to this book, a hologram... Like, you can... If you were to take a holographic picture and save it onto, like, a frame that you can shine the light through to produce a holographic image, it's, like, exists as, like, a frame that's, like, a negative or whatever. You shine the light through to produce the image. There's, like, the equivalent of that for a hologram. If you were to cut a piece of it off, it wouldn't cut a piece off of the picture. It would just make the picture a little bit more blurry. So every piece of the hologram contains the whole. And they're alleging that's how the universe works. That every single piece of the universe contains the whole of the universe. And that's how everything is interconnected.
Sure.
Yeah, it's all shit that this one guy said this one thing in this one experiment, therefore anything's possible. Like, if you find a copy of the holographic universe, I recommend reading it because it's interesting.
I recommend throwing it out.
It's all not true, but it's a fascinating
Don't even bother.
theory.
Read something good. Like Twilight.
I think they were just using holograms instead of fractals because this was before they knew fractals were a thing. Because fractals applies a little bit better because, you know, fractals, the further you zoom in, the more there is, and you find repeating patterns in it. So that's a way more accurate version. But this was before fractals were a thing, so they went with holograms.
Whoa. That's interesting. Alright, so we talked about all of that shit, which got pretty boring. So now that we talked about all that stuff, let's talk about the crystals. Because I'm curious.
Like what they do and
stuff?
stuff?
I've always, for example, my real name, I was going to say what my real name was. My real name's not Ruth Adams. Okay? That's a fake name. Or a pseudonym. My real name is actually named after something that has... It's a thing that's a group of things that historically have meanings. Okay? Does that make sense?
If you know what you're talking about already, then yeah.
So, I will say this. My real human name is a type of flower.
Right.
And there is a very interesting historical trend of flowers having meanings.
Yeah.
Okay? So, I've always been interested in other groups of things that have meanings because of my name. You know?
Yeah. Was there a specific gem you wanted to look up the meaning of and what it does?
I don't care. Let's talk about all of the ones you have. Well, you have 12 fucking pages worth.
Yeah, like, there's a meaning for literally every mineral you can think of. Even shit that isn't crystals.
Like, I've looked up these before, you know, because I think that it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like, ooh, what can we make up?
Like,
you know?
It's an interesting little exercise.
Yeah.
Let's go with ammonite, because we have an ammonite.
I have several ammonites,
like
actually.
An actual ammonite that we bought from a fucking dinosaur museum in South Dakota.
And I've actually purchased several since. Not as good of quality, but fun, right? Like, they're cool.
So, according to this, an ammonite is a very powerful earth healing fossil. Its spiral shape symbolizes continual change and evolution. Ammonites have absorbed cosmic energy over eons of time and help to stimulate the life force within, chi. Ammonites are often used for activating kundalini and life path energies. The ammonite is also often recommended to put in the home to attract health, prosperity, and success.
Okay, ammonites, though, fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like, we have, like I said, we have several. The one Cal's referring to is actually a slice of one.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times what happens when these are fossilized is that the chambers within them, two things can happen. Either they remain intact and crystals grow within inside the chamber, or they fill up with dirt or mud or sand or whatever. So, what's really cool about these is that each chamber of the ammonite shell can have its own crystal structures growing in them. So they look super cool.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love it. And I can see why you would make something up weird about them, because they're really bizarre.
Yeah.
You know?
If you didn't know it was an animal, you'd look at it and think it's a fucking magical rock.
For sure, for sure. But because, it's a fossil, we understand that, like, how they are created and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's cool. The best thing about ammonites are the fossils that retain their opalescence, which isn't, like, the big one we have doesn't have this, but the smaller ones that I have do. Like, they're a sea creature, their shells were opalescent inside, like, maybe, like, you would see in an oyster. So, like, the really rare and beautiful ammonite fossils retain that. And I've actually seen, in DC, I think there's a huge one. Or maybe this was in New York. I don't think you were with me, so I think it was when I was in New York. But it was like, it's like 2 feet across. It's an ammonite fossil that's opalescent. Purely. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's spirally, and spirals have, like, cool amulet value,
Yeah, physically, ammonites can help to increase stamina and vitality. Use ammonites when working with issues of blood pressure or problems with the ears, lungs, and degenerative disorders. Ammonites will also help to lift the heaviness that is sometimes felt during depression.
Fuck, I need to cover myself in ammonites. I need the ammonite, just, like, bandolier, with, like, one for... I gotta infuse my energy and thoughts into each one that does something different.
The ammonite draws off all negative energies.
All?
Think of the ammonite spirals as a filter, drawing in these dense energies which are no longer needed, moving them through the spirals and releasing them as fresh, positive, loving life force energies.
Shit.
So it's drawing in the bad energy, filtering them out, and putting out good shit.
Whoa.
Also,
I said, gotta cover my body with these bad boys.
Also, ammonites, not crystals.
Well, they have crystals in them.
They can become crystallized, but the ammonite itself is not a crystal.
Aren't fossils, like, I guess they're mineralized.
Yeah, they're minerals. They're not crystals.
Ammonites, though,
fossils
have crystals in them sometimes.
Fossils have their own category on websites.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
they make your dick as hard as a rock or some shit.
But we're both into amethyst, so the amethyst is seeking tranquility and calm your life. Amethyst has best intention crystals for relieving stress and bringing balance back into your life.
Fuck, I need it so bad.
It's a visually striking rock, also a wonderful meditation tool because it boosts inner strength and provides spiritual protection.
Ooh. I think I'm gonna buy some amethyst, bro. Do you want some? We can add them to our ammonite bandolier.
Honestly, it's something I do anyway because I just like amethyst in and of itself.
Do you want one? I can make you a necklace, bro. An amethyst necklace.
See,
amethyst is quartz, right? It's like purple quartz.
Yeah, purple quartz.
So I have a fun quartz story. Once upon a time, in another life, I lived in a different place. In this place, there was an extremely large iron ore taconite mine, okay? And if you grew up anywhere near a mining town, you know what tiling piles are. Okay? They're huge piles of, like, waste rock, basically, that the mine doesn't need because it doesn't have enough iron ore in it or whatever. And these things are huge. And on one occasion, I rode my bike to these. This probably can't happen anymore. And we were, like, playing on them because this was the 90s. And we were freer then. In many ways. And first off, iron ore mine, this shit is staining you fucking red. Alright?
Right.
I remember coming home and my mom being super pissed because, like, my shoes were new, but they were stained forever with iron ore dust. But within this tiling pile, there was shit tons of quartz and amethyst. Just all over the place. Like, you could just pick... I picked up handfuls of it that day. Like, filled my pockets up with it. I mean, it was stained red because of the dust, but, I mean, you could see that they were crystals. They weren't, like, good specimens, but they were crystals. And it's not, like... Amethyst is super common, and so is quartz. Quartz, I think, is the most common crystal in the world, probably.
Yeah, like, most gems are just different colors of quartz.
And, like, quartz is silicon-based, or silica, whatever. The most common fucking mineral in the Earth's crust or whatever. That's what it's made of. So it's like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's probably under us right now.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
But
I just think it's fun that I was able to pick up handfuls and handfuls of this shit when I was a kid.
Well, it makes sense you feel so connected to it, because the zodiac signs of amethyst are Pisces, Virgo, Aquarius, and Capricorn.
None of those are my zodiac.
Aren't you a Capricorn?
No, I'm a Sagittarius.
Wow.
You don't even know? And I call you my husband.
Capricorn's the December one, so whatever.
No, Capricorn is not. No, Capricorn's the November one, bro.
No, it's not.
Yeah. The Archer, Sagittarius, is the December one. Although
Jesus was a Capricorn.
Technically, I'm actually part of the 13th constellation. Ocephus.
Or
the snake guy. Better watch out, y'all. Snake charmer up in this. Is opal? Do you have opal on here?
I put them in... No. There's obsidian, moonstone, raw emerald.
We can talk about obsidian.
Rose quartz.
Obsidian's fun. Obsidian is like volcanic glass.
Yeah.
So, is glass a crystal?
No.
So then obsidian isn't a crystal.
No.
Right?
I don't think so.
Maybe it is, though.
I don't think it's uniform throughout, like, atomically, so I don't think it's technically a crystal.
And it has conchoidal fractures. And I know this because you can make stone tools out of obsidian.
Yeah, well, that's like flint knapping and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's not, like, it's not naturally like that.
So is flint a crystal?
No, that's a mineral. Like,
It's not a mineral.
If you look up the meanings of crystals on these crystal websites, if you find, like, a compendium of all of them, most of them are not actually crystals. They're just like gemstones and shit. Things that aren't actually crystals.
Gemstones are crystals.
But the effects of obsidian, or the varieties of obsidian, can be used as grounding and protective agents. Snowflake obsidian helps people surrender or let go of negative habits or past pathways that no longer serve their present condition. It can bring about the opportunity for change, serenity, and clarity.
Whoa, brah. Any one of these could do it. It's like the zodiac.
Yeah, like...
It's like when you read your horoscope.
That's what I said at the beginning, that it's just right in front of you version of the zodiac. So it's like carrying around your birthstone. It means nothing, but it makes you feel better. So, whatever. See, Tiger Eye. If you like Tiger Eye.
Eye is pretty cool.
See,
because this is the one that looks like a cat's eye because of the way that light reflects inside of it.
Tiger Eye is balancing grounding stone that supposedly helps the bearer maintain and grow their wealth and helps create awareness and understanding.
We're fucking adding this to our bandolier. We need more money, y'all.
It's nice. It's a nice one to just keep in your pocket to calm and ground you during stressful moments. Just like literally any other rock works as a worry stone. It can aid those seeking clarity.
That's weird.
Okay.
Well, your diamond, that's your birthstone. What does it say about you? Wait, was abalone shell on your thing?
Yeah. Like, I made a list at the beginning of all the things that are, objectively not crystals.
We'll go to diamond.
Like, every website has their own thing. There was only one website I found that had all of them. Yeah, diamond isn't on this one.
But a diamond would be a crystal.
Yeah. You have to find the right website because they all say different shit. A to Z meanings. Maybe this one was it. Diamond. Relationships, amplification, more. Yeah, this is not a very detailed list. Yeah, there was one website that I found that had like a big, long, elaborate explanation for every one of them. It was pages and pages long. That's when I gave up trying to... Like, when I started doing research, I would just find one that was like a top 10 list, and I would copy that into the thing, and then I would find another top 10 list that said different things, and I started building up my own compendium of it. But then as I went along, I found that there's literally a meaning for any rock that you can think of. So I was just like, well, fuck this. It's not even worth anymore. But yeah, if you find the website, there's... Like, the meanings vary, usually, but they're all kind of generally connected, because I'm sure a lot of them are coming from the same source, whatever that may be.
Well, I mean, in summation, crystals and other amulets do work if you believe in them.
Yeah, it's the placebo effect.
Because your thoughts do give things power. That's why amulets work in the first place. Okay?
There was a lot of guides to crystal healing that I found that started off saying, it only works if you believe in it. So, like, your opinion of the placebo effect has a big impact on whether or not it's any good for you.
And I'm completely comfortable, and in fact I support people who want to drink water that's been infused with whatever. That's fine. Do your thing. If you want to use crystals to help balance your emotional energies, do it. Alright? And if you want to give me one because you think I'm a moody bitch, I'll take it. And it'll probably make me feel better because you gave me a gift, right?
Yeah.
Do I think that using crystals is a replacement for legitimate medical intervention? No. Because it's one thing to, use a crystal to help lift your mood in taking antidepressants.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing. Okay? If you need to meditate for a few minutes with your, good juju crystal because you're feeling a little bit down, and you need an emotional boost, if you want to meditate with your crystal, and that's fine. I support you. In fact, we all should meditate a little bit more, probably. Do I think you should quit taking your fucking Zoloft because now you believe in crystal healing? No.
If
you might die if you do that.
If you think that someone who's suffering from a degenerative disease would feel better if only they took a crystal healing session, you can fuck right off. Because there's actual medicine that we have to deal with that. Because you know what they call alternative medicine that actually works? We call it medicine.
Yeah.
If there's evidence that it works, then it's not alternative anymore.
Yeah, and again, if you're going to do a crystal healing session because you're really stressed out and you need to, get more in touch with your body, do it.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I have taken a Reiki healing session and I did feel better. But it wasn't it was the relaxation that made me feel better. And a lot of those types of therapies, it's that piece of it that's making you feel better. Massage is a little bit different because, physically, your body's being manipulated and stuff. But things like a guided meditation, Reiki healing, crystal healing sessions, it's the relaxation piece of it that is making you feel better. Because our lives are very stressful. Many of us carry our stress with us in our bodies. physically that causes us pain, you know? So, like, do a crystal healing session if you need to. If you have cancer and you're diagnosed with cancer, do the standard medical treatments that your doctor's recommending. You know, like, don't shove a crystal up your ass and think that you're going to be cured.
Yeah, I think a big part of why these people believe in this crystal healing shit as being, like, as effective or more effective than real medicine is because it's this anti-science mindset where, like, oh, well, this is something that early humans knew, and that it's a piece of knowledge that we've lost, and now that science is opposed to that because, oh, with science we have to have these really rigid laboratory studies, but this is something that we found out before then, so it doesn't apply to our modern sensibilities of what's real. Therefore, modern science will never acknowledge it as being real, even if it is real. So I believe in it regardless, actually in defiance of what science says.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's silly. It's a dumb mindset.
And it's harmful.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a parent and you want to treat your child with crystals, I'm reporting you to CPS, bro.
Yeah, that's not...
Like, that's abuse. Like, children have died because their parents want to pray their illness away. This falls into the same category, y'all. If you're trying to cure your kid's illness or disease with alternative, quote-unquote, alternative treatments, you're hurting your child. You deserve to have your child taken away. And you deserve to be prosecuted in the event of their death.
Yeah, a lot of the crystal healing authorities are people who got the information from either early ancient human practices, or it was like a revelation that came to them while they were meditating.
Yeah, like, guess what? People in early human history lived to 30. Okay? Like, they did not live very long.
Yeah, early humans died early a lot. Like, well, it was the average lifespan that was so low because of the high infant mortality rate, because we didn't have modern medicine. So a lot of babies and mothers died during childbirth.
Yeah, and I mean, I also know somebody who has cancer. Shock to all of us. You know, we're not old. But if somebody told him, listen, bro, just drink this water, it's been charged in the moonlight with these crystals, and your cancer will be healed, he'd probably punch him.
Yeah, he should.
Because he's, like, going through an ordeal that hopefully none of us have to experience. You know?
Yeah, that's when you're most susceptible to this type of shit, though. Because when you feel like nothing's working and you will try literally anything.
If you're at the point where you're terminal and there aren't treatments for you, by all means go for the crystal healing. But, like, listen to your doctors.
Whatever will make you feel better.
Get a second opinion. Get a third opinion. Get a fourth opinion. You know? Get as many opinions as you need. And then if you're just looking for palliative end-of-life care, vibe with the crystals, y'all. If it's going to help you feel, you know, emotionally better. I mean, overall, if you want to feel emotionally better, meditate with your crystals. I don't give a shit.
I mean, like,
just don't push that shit on people. That's where I have a problem.
Yeah, if having a rose crystal, or like a rose quartz crystal in your pocket all day makes you feel like you're more open to love coming into your life, good for you. You know, whatever makes you feel better. But if you're going around telling people that their life would be better if only they believed what you believed, then you're kind of a dick.
You're a dick, yeah.
You should stop that.
Don't proselytize your fucking crystal shit at me. Like, no thanks. Don't do that with anything. Leave me to my business. If I come to you, Crystal Man, and I ask you about your crystals, feel free to tell me more about them.
Yeah, it's like the creationist people. Like, you can go ahead and believe what you believe. But once you start claiming that there's science backing up what you believe, and you start throwing pseudoscience bullshit at me, I'm going to start fucking... I'm making fun of you for that, because it's objectively not true.
I'm just going to be like, peace. I'm just going to walk away, because not even worth the effort of me, you know, confronting you about it. I'd rather just leave you alone in your deluded little world.
But it's not about them. It's about all the people that they're convincing with their nonsense.
Well, they're all stupid too. But basically, crystal healing is bullshit. Crystal healing works if you believe in it.
Like crystal power? That's like a thing. Like, if you believe in it's true, sure. Like, just like all placebos, the more you believe, the more effective it is. But it's all the...
Like any other amulet, which is what these crystals are, you know? Any other amulet, your belief in the thing gives it power. Just and like that's voodoo. Enough. You know, that's enough sometimes.
Just like voodoo.
You've been listening to the Totally Not Made Up podcast, where we talk about things that are totally not made up. I'm Ruth.
I'm Cal.
Take your sources.
You might be surprised what you find.